Hello, it's 9 p.m. in Art. This time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. So we have Djibouti takes part in the first World Congress on Terrorism. In Cairo, African leaders call for climate funds. Welcome to our newsroom. President Mohamed Ali Mohammed speaks at the United Nations General Assembly at the head of a large delegation, including the Member of Parliament Ahmed Mohamed Ali. The President of the National Assembly participates in the first Global Congress on Terrorism and its victims, which at the headquarters of the United Nations in New York on 8-9 September 2022. The first of its kind, this summit organized by the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism mobilizes members of civil society, but also academics and experts specializing in the issue of terrorism and its victims. Significantly, the private sector is also involved in these debates, which should lead to the development of a global strategy to fight against this rampant scourge that threatens security in the world. In his important speech, the President of the National Assembly gave a broad overview of the ins and outs of this summit meeting. Listen for more details.
Tout d'abord, au nom de l'Union parlementaire africaine de l'Assemblée nationale de Djibouti,
I have a great honor on behalf of the authorities of the African Parliament and on my name as the President of the Parliament of the Republic and to celebrate with the Secretary General of United Nations to hold this international conference on combat of terrorism the legal group. It is a great happiness for me to provide a speech here as we talk in deeply about issues of terrorism, but I wanted to remember all the people who have been affected by the terrorism and who are living in the world and know about all these attacks that have taken hundreds of lives by terrorist groups in this country on Africa. How many people have been abused, hurt, and terrorized by the enemy, and they don't know. We have came together as a special remember as the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said all the peoples have died, the Ambaba people due to the action of terrorist groups, and we have came to advance the terrorism. Let's go through those times. It is important to know that the road is long and many things will be done for us.
President Mohamed Ali Mohammed stressed the firm commitment and determination of the Republic of Djibouti behind its president in the fight against terrorism through a strengthened legislation. Listen to the report.
nous aurons donc l'opportunité d'apprendre et d'échanger sur les meilleures pratiques des États et des organisations de la société civile.
As I said last year, another conference which happened in Doha city of Qatar, it is worth nothing to be prepared to give assistance and immediate aid to the people through the terrorism as soon as the things happens. If I talk about Africa, there are safe systems to identify people involved in terrorist attack, but there is always a choke on the freedom of volunteer finance. Therefore, they are remembered and they are recommended by the United Nations to combat terrorism, and the office that all member states cooperate in taking and attacking the provide agency for the people and the victims of terrorism. The content of this conference is to educate the whole society in the fight against terrorism, to provide the right and response that people and all victims of terrorism.
Following the example of countries around the world, the Republic of Djibouti celebrates this Thursday, September 8th, International Literacy Day at the headquarters of the National Union of Djiboutian Women under the theme Transforming the Learning Space of Literacy. Its objective is to recall and underline the importance of literacy, which is a matter of dignity and human rights, to move towards a more literate and sustainable society. Since its creation, the UNFD has advocated for an educational policy that claims the right to learn for Djiboutian women. A tailor-made literacy campaign for adults in French are organized by UNFD in collaboration with its governmental and non-governmental partners. This day is an opportunity for the coordination team of the National Literacy Program to present the development and obstacles encountered during the past year. For her part, the Vice President of UNFD, Ms. Hasna Hamada Bilil, said in her speech that once again we are gathered to celebrate together the International Day of Adult Literacy, and an opportunity to honor our compatriots who have not had the opportunity to go to school, for whom we will continue to fight to make them come out of illiteracy permanently in the presence of a member of government without which we would not be conducted this fight. Our organization is the National Union of Djiboutian Women, chaired by the First Lady, reiterates its deep thanks to the gentleman, Mr. here present, and partners who accompany us. For her part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Women and Family, Nisa Hassan Bahdoun, said in her speech that it is a great honor for me to be here at the UNFD headquarters to celebrate International Literacy Day, but also to congratulate women who are committed to fuel emancipation and success, and also to the development of the nations through their families and communities. It is also a great honor to represent here before you this assembly composed of distinguished guests, the Minister of Women and Family, Muna Usman Aden, to celebrate this International Literacy Day. For her part, the Minister of Social Affairs, Ulufa Ismail Abdo, said that it is a great honor, it is a great pleasure for me to celebrate International Literacy Day in this magnificent hall of the UNFD, which is of particular importance because our religion, Islam, has always advocated knowledge and therefore the fight against illiteracy and ignorance. Thus, the fight against poverty begins with education. So the theme chosen for this year is Transforming Learning Space of Literacy, especially dedicated to adults. For his part, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, said in his speech, greeted the First Lady and President of UNFD, Khadra Mahmoud Haid, to express my deep appreciation for the work she has done for the UNFD and NGO that works tirelessly for social welfare. I would like to reassure here that each battle is won brings us closer to victory. The National Order of Medical Professions of Djibouti organized Wednesday in collaboration with the health services of the FFDG the day of training Franco-Djiboutian multidisciplinary training of interns of doctoral students on the management of damage control on health situation. The objective is to training consists of the management of the traumatology emergency in the file of war and developed by the health services for a number of each.
Confirm that the toxic chemical have been around for 400 years, so their effects are not reliable. Plastic have a negative effect on the environment, such as cleanliness, beauty of the capital, and plastic also affect the marine environment, especially the various resources in the oceans. So be careful of the seriousness of bags in the areas of the streets and east. The Republic of Djibouti has listened to the President of the Republic and banned the entry into the country of these harmful chemical bags on the 20th of 4th month in 2016. Therefore, in order to use these bags, the first company is in the country that makes plastic bags has been created, and company is named after it. Deep Plastic Factory. This organization has already started to employ hundreds of young people to collect the environmentally harmful plastic bags that have not been recycled in the country in order to redesign and replace them with low degradable plastic. This is one of the managers of Djibouti Plastic Factory who is telling us how these bags are used in the country. The importance of the plastic bags from abroad is a violation of environment of the sea, the east, and the beauty of the capital. It is important for us to put our trash and garbage in the designed place to in order that we can become more environmentally friendly and our lives depend on it.
Arta Solar 7 team is actively training for the big day, the CAF match, which will be played tomorrow against the Giants Sudanese at the Al Merik at Hassan Guled Stadium. During the training sessions, the players carried out exercises to consolidate their ability to coordinate in attacks, their mutual support in defense, and their flexibility. The objective of these training sessions was to reinforce certain knowledge, theoretical and practical, or in more general way to allow the player to keep the rhythms regularly. Arta Solar 7 team had spent almost a month in Tanzania for the preparations of CAF match. In the first match of the first preliminary round is composed of 2 rounds, the first of which will be played tomorrow against Al Merrikh, the second of the Sudanese championship and one of the best teams in Sudan. It is worth noting that Arta Solar 7 has signed 9 new players, including the international player Salomon Kalou, in order to help build the team and be fully prepared for the CAF Championships League. The village of Dai welcomed yesterday about 30 young people from the capital, all municipalities for a 3-day stay as part of the twinings. Arrived in the evening, the delegation was immediately taken in charge from the receptionist to the accommodations through the dinner by the managers of the sports complex of Dai, Isa Ahmed, and his team. The delegation was led by the officials of the Secretary of State in charge of sports, including the director of the region, Yusuf Abdallah, the coordinator of sports, Mr. Ahmed Ali. It was also accompanied by local elected officials of the city of Djibouti. Very early in the morning, the day began with the contact of the young people of both environment, followed by a breakfast and the instructions of the coordination of sports, who reminded them the objectives of the twining before taking the road of the forest. In this perspective, the Twainid young people initiated a series of activities such as the collection of plastic waste, factors of pollution of the environment, and an awareness on the misdeed of these last ones of the environment, on the environment, as well as a plantation and the maintenance of trees within the forest, respecting meticulously the advices of the guide Muhammad Merito to further the development of the natural balance. These actions were congratulated and encouraged by the local authorities and especially by the population. It should be noted that these type of initiatives, twinings, are preponderant to the development of our youth, notwithstanding the little stay in Dai has awakened in them life skills such as the protections of the environment, their belonging to a common and national identity. It, in addition, is and one thing is sure vocations will be born in some of them in front of these natures and these life experiences encountered. The National Association of the Local Community of Djibouti, in short, and NCLD, organized in Addis Ababa, the capital a workshop on the project to support the involvement of the civil society in the process of regional development funded by the European Union through the International Association of Francophone Mayors. This event, chaired by the President of the Regional Council, brought together the President of the and members of the Civil Society Association, members of the INCLD, the facilitator of the workshop. The President of the Regional Council welcomed the participant and the initiator of the training to Ali Sabih, and particularly to the headquarters of this institution, to the members, leader of the civil group. He urged them to take maximum advantage of the lessons learning from the workshop in order to present useful, viable projects, and knowing that the National Association of Djiboutian Local Authorities is a real advocacy tool that will help advance the issue of decentralization. For his part, the President of the Regional Council, Sharmaki Hassan Allale, said that this support project to Djibouti local authorities will also aim to strengthen the capacity of decentralization and the concentration actors, in particular for the benefit of the members of the National Association of the Djibouti Local Authorities. The main objective of this program are to promote a dialogue between the national administration, regional councils, and civil society in order to support decentralization and local development, and to establish an environment conducive to the participation of citizens in local political life and the considerations of their aspirations. As part of the fight against the illicit traffic of all kinds of contraband goods, a customs officer of Ali Sabih, in close collaboration with the police officers, intercept a large quantity of pack of smuggled cat. The goods seized on these occasions were 2,000 kilograms of cat that the smugglers wanted to bring to Ali Sabih. According to the standards procedure in force, this quantity was destroyed on the spot in the presence of the head of the Ali Sabih Customs Brigade, Mr. Muhammad Mumin Hassan. The prefect of the region congratulated the close collaboration of the elements of the Customs Brigade and the National Police Forces of Ali Sabih, who participate in these operations to fight against smuggling. The traffickers could not exercise this illegal trade. It is therefore incumbent on each citizen to lead on his side this fight to end this scourge. It is with deep consternation that we have learned today, September 9, 2022, the death of Hassan Abdallah Hassan, commanders of the brigade of the neighborhood 6 and 7. The deceased joined the rank of the gendarmeries in 2007. He served in several units of the gendarmerie before landing at the brigade 6 and 7, where he commanded since 2009. With a sociable, extremely caring and hard-working nature, the chief Hassan has left his mark on the gendarmerie. His actions will be an example for the generations to come. The deceased leaves behind 2 wives and 10 children. In these difficult moments, the acting colonel of Colonel Muhammad Ibrahim Tani, the acting chief of staff of the National Gendarmerie, as well as the officers, non-commissioned officers, gendarmes, and civil personnel of the institution, send their deepest condolence to the family and relatives of the deceased. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene in Cairo, African leaders called for climate funds. 24 African countries have called on developed countries to meet their financial commitment to help the continent fight climate change. The 3-day meeting hosted by Egypt in the new capital that rises from the sands of 50 kilometers from Cairo, followed a summit on Monday in the Netherlands aimed at supporting Africa in the face of climate change. Representatives of 24 African countries are calling on developed countries to meet their financial commitments to help the continent adapt to climate change ahead of the UN World Climate Conference scheduled to take place in Egypt in November. They announced it in a statement Friday The African leaders have called from Cairo to reduce the cost of green borrowing, citing the determining role of international financial organizations and multilateral development banks in this area. In Mali, dozens of civilians killed after Islamic State attack on town. Listen to Kasra Ali.
After the attack on a locality by the IS, dozens of civilians were killed this week in a locality in northern Mali, attacked by jihadists affiliated with the Islamic State organization, which extended its radius of actions at the cost of numerous abused, local officials said. This is the first time that the Talataya, about 150 kilometers from the country, has suffered an attack on such a scale from the Islamic State groups in the Greater Sahara. This country consists essentially on an agglomeration of hamlets in a vast desert expanse of which is located at the convergence and the areas of influence in different army groups, and clashes are recurrent there.
In Nigeria, a mobile application alerts on climate change. Listen to this report.
On climate change. Nigeria girls have developed an application which they believe will encourage more people to fight climate change for the preservation of environment, earth, for example, and to offers its user taxes, games, advice, and even training on environmental issues. The Earth Experience was one of the regional winners of 2022 edition of the global competition organized by the Technovations, the US-based on non-profit organization that empower women and girls to use technology to create change. The mobile application complements a campaign in schools to dispose waste properly, reduce plastic use, and check carbon footprints.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.